So I'm going to do an unboxing and overview of the Thermaltake Core V21 microATX cube case, because it's the case I'm going to use for my new LAN build. Knife. We're going to cut the top because that's what I did before. I already inspected it on the inside to make sure nothing was damaged from UPS. So the front of the case there. This is our top and bottom. We got a nice plastic wrap keeping it clean. I already added a second window to this. I got it from Thermaltake. I ordered it at the same time. So we got some tape holding on our magnetic badge, which you can change with the orientation of the case, because the case can change. Either flat motherboard mount or vertical, depending on how you place the insides, well, place the outside of the case and rotate. We've got a huge magnetic dust filter on the top, and it normally comes with one on the other side panel. So you've got identical case side panels, the options for mesh or window. I'm going with window because I'm going to have plenty of airflow. So I'm going to flip it over so you can get a look at the bottom. Also has a lot of ventilation on the bottom. We have plastic case feet that snap in instead of screw in. They have rubber pads in the bottom. They're relatively thin, but they do a good job of keeping it from sliding around. We have a removable 120mm dust filter for the power supply. And a huge ventilation area right here. I'm probably going to tape this off with my own filter media. It's our side I/O. 2 USB 3, headphone, microphone, reset, power, and hard disk LED. Totally clear side windows. All 3 side panels, or excuse me, 4 panels are held on by thumb screws. They're easy to remove. They pull and rotate off a little bit. This one is a little warped, but that's UPS's fault. I'm just going to leave it on the case and hope that it goes straight. It looks fine when it's on the case. So you can see here, you have space for 3 toolless 3.5-inch bays that also have 2.5-inch mounting. And you can go front or back, it looks like, so you can have cables going out either side of the cage. And I believe the case, the hard drive cage is removable with just one screw here, and then it should slide out in that direction. So I'm going to remove the side panels, except for the bottom. I want to keep that on there. Don't want to lose my screws here. I'm going to give you a look at the plexiglass too, so you can see that it's totally clear. The side panels aren't the strongest, but this is only a $70 or $80 case. And for the features you get in this form factor, there's basically no competition that even comes close. That's why I jumped on it as soon as it came out. So you have 5 expansion slots, so you can use space in between graphics cards on a microATX motherboard. So you can run basically as good as it gets for SLI or Crossfire if the motherboard supports that spacing, or if you want to add some other strange expansion card down there, or maybe a fan controller and then 2 slots, something like that. Back over on the top, we have our radiator mounts. These are quite easy to take in and out. Right now this right side, or bottom I should say, is set for 140 millimeter width, and this side is 120 millimeter. For a reference, this is a Thermaltake aluminum vortex 140 millimeter fan. Based on the way these rails are made, you're not going to be able to fit a radiator mounted directly to the rails because there's a small lip along the edge of each rail. So it's going to hit this because all 140 millimeter radiators are slightly wider than the fan. Now that I've taken that off, you can see how there's a little tab here. You pull and slide, and there's slots in the front of the case. So you can adjust so both sides are 120 millimeter, or one 120 millimeter width, 140 millimeter width, which I'm going to put it back that way so you can see with the fan mounted. And these are pretty secure. So there's one there. I'm going to add a second so you can see the proper spacing. Because these are the fans I'm going to be using for my build. So I believe it's 20 millimeter on 140 millimeter fans for the spacing between the fans, but I'm not sure. Or if you're just doing air, you can expand it as wide as you want to go, which I think that's 35 or 40 millimeters. I'll do another video once I put my build in it. It's got a Neptune 280L cooler for the CPU. Let's see if I can pop the front panel off without being too aggressive. Oh yeah, it's nice and easy to press the tabs there. And it comes pre-installed with a Thermaltake 200 millimeter fan. And it's got a nice, thick, squishy foam dust filter, the entire cover of the front, so it's great for dust filtering. And it doesn't look too restrictive either. And you can see behind here, I'll try and put the fan behind it. You can fit, that's one 140. And that's a second 140. And it looks like you can still get the same standard spacing, but in order to fit a radiator, you'll have to remove these top braces, and some won't fit because there's only about a finger's width right there on top. For the most part, I'm probably going to leave in the front 200 millimeter or replace it with a red LED one that I already have, and then put my Neptune 280L in the top of the case. Ah, this side is cool. So you have 3 thumb screw attached, 2.5-inch drive bays here too. So you just have screw holes here and a little snap on the back. And these are adjustable as well. There's slots all along the edge of the motherboard tray, so you can put them where it works for your cable management. I'm going to take these off and hopefully get a little better look at the motherboard tray arrangement. zoom in. We have pre-installed motherboard standoffs. And so if you have a smaller motherboard, you can install your own standoffs for the smaller microATX models, but for full width, they're already bent out of the sheet metal. And you have a huge CPU cutout, so that shouldn't be a problem, but you're going to want to do it before you put in your power supply. And then your front panel cables, which are all standard. I forgot to mention that you can fit a 140mm fan on the rear too, for basically full tower levels of air cooling in a microATX cube. So I'm excited to build in this. Hopefully I'll give you guys a good update after I zoom it back out a little bit, make it more reasonable. A build update on the forums with pictures or something like that. Signing off. The Cripple from PDXLAN. See you later.